Hello everyone, I'm Ellen Thompson-Jennings, the Family History Hound, and today I'm going to talk about things you should avoid doing when working on your genealogy and DNA, because you might be creating your own brick walls. Sometimes when people do genealogy, they say that they have a brick wall in their family, but they might be making mistakes and building some of those brick walls themselves. Let's have a look at some of the things you can do to avoid this and how you can make researching easier. I'm a firm believer in working smarter, not harder, so let's take a look. In this video, I'm going to explore 7 tips to help your genealogy and DNA. They are DNA testing, you need records, don't make assumptions, trees are just hints, attach your DNA to your tree, the wife has a name, and use the tools. So let's have a look at these tips. I'm a DNA nerd. In fact, the license plate on my car states that, DNA nerd. So give me a wave if you see my vehicle on the road. I'm also a firm believer in this statement that neither DNA nor records can stand on their own. Each needs the other as proof. So if you're researching your genealogy and you think, I can trace my family history back to the 1600s, so I don't need to do DNA, that's not completely accurate. Why? Because you might be researching a fairy tale. You might be researching someone else's tree. By doing DNA with such a robust tree, you can confirm the details of your own tree, and you could help others with their research, especially if they have a DNA mystery in their family. But you can't just work on your DNA in a vacuum. You really do need to have documents to help you along the way, especially if you have a mystery line in your family. You'll need the DNA, but then you'll need to build trees, and for that you'll also need documents to support those trees. So genealogy and DNA really do go hand in hand. When you get your results, the DNA company will tell you what the relationship might be with your match. So when you get your results, you'll see something called the centimorgan, or you might see this small c, capital M, and that's centimorgan, which is the way we measure DNA. So the more you share with a person, or the higher the number of centimorgans you share with that match, the closer the relationship is. But you don't want to make assumptions. So this is one of my friend's matches. He shares 1,390 centimorgans with this lady, or 20% shared DNA. Now, Ancestry tells him that the match is a close family member up to a first cousin. If he clicks on the hyperlink that's right below the 1,390 centimorgans, he'll open up this view, and it tells him that there's an 85% chance that this person is a match as a grandparent, a grandchild, a half-sibling, an aunt or an uncle, a niece or a nephew. Now there's also the possibility that this relationship is in that 14% relationships as well. But if we just look at the ones that are 85%, obviously he needs to know a little bit more information about this match. How old is this person? If the person is much younger, then it's not possible for them to be a grandparent. So you see, he needs more information. Now this is one of my own matches. And in this case, it shows, and this is not my heritage. And in this case, it shows that this person could be my great aunt or my first cousin to first cousin once removed, because we share 696.6 centimorgans, or 9.8%. Now, if we notice this little question mark, then we click on that, it'll open up this screen, and it actually shows the possible relationships that they talked about on the first page, and shows you how that person is connected. But in fact, this person is my half aunt. So her one parent is one of my grandparents. We don't share both of my grandparents. We only share one person. So that makes her a half aunt. And in my heritage case, they don't show any of the half relationships that you potentially could have. That's why I encourage you to go use a site that I really love. It's called DNApainter.com. And there, if you go to the Shared Centimorgan project, you'll find an interactive tool where you can put the amount of shared DNA that you have with your match, and it will give you all the potential possibilities of the relationships, including those half relationships. So that helps when you don't know how you connect with a match, but you don't want to assume something about a relationship you think you do know. So say you have a cousin who is DNA tested and you see them in your results. Do you share enough DNA with them to be their cousin? Maybe you only share a small amount of centimorgans. This might mean that they are a half cousin when you thought they were your full cousin, so don't make assumptions. So whether you're on Ancestry, MyHeritage, Find My Past, Family Search, or any other site that has trees, you need to be careful. Records are hints, and so are trees, but in both cases, you don't want to blindly accept those hints, especially when it comes to tree hints. You need to do the research to confirm that the information is correct. Often I see trees where the mother has died long before a child is born or long after a father is dead, so there is no way that they could be the parents. Or in one instance, I had a person who was researching someone named Hannah Clark, and she thought my tree was incorrect. And I never make the assumption that I'm absolutely correct. So I went about confirming my own research. And I realized that she had a Hannah Clark that she was researching, and her Hannah Clark was born in the same year and in the same place. But there were actually 3 Hannah Clarks born that year. And I researched each of the lines, and I followed up on the parents, siblings, and exact addresses. And it was the address where she had gotten mixed up on, as well as the children in her tree had suddenly completely changed. Also, just because everyone has Elmer Fudd in their tree as their grandfather doesn't mean you should too. Those people may have copied the same mistakes. Do the research. It's okay to be the odd person out. Speaking of trees, do you have your DNA attached to your tree? This can help you in a couple of ways. It makes it easier for DNA cousins to figure out how they might fit, but it also allows the genealogy system to look at your DNA and offer suggestions for your tree. So in the case of MyHeritage, they have their theory of family relativity. And be sure to check out my other video about this tool. You'll find the link in the show notes below. And Ancestry gives you through lines. Here are a few tips. Be sure when you attach your DNA that you're linking it to the correct person in your tree. You can not only attach yourself, but you can attach anyone else's DNA in your tree as long as you've been given access to that person's DNA. So I have my brothers, aunts, uncles, and cousins all linked to my genealogy tree. My next tip is if you don't want to use your entire genealogy tree, then create a small tree, but be sure to have several generations. Remember, living people are private, so you want to extend your tree past the living people. You don't want to see this kind of tree. Be sure to expand your tree to deceased people. MyHeritage calls it Magic 7. So that's you, your parents, and their parents. Most important is that you have deceased people so they will be visible to those that look at your tree. When you're creating an ancestor profile, don't be tempted to put extra details in their name so that you can keep the people straight. I would suggest, I'll show you in another screen exactly where you can put information such as this. If I add either of these people to my tree and I use exactly the same information that this person has here, which is RNR and buried in Gibraltar, I get 0 hints. So if you have information like this, you want to put it in the view notes. Now, your view notes slot area is completely private. It's where you can keep track of all your information that you want to remember. If you want to leave something for other people to see, then you can put it in the comments, view comments section. Now, by taking those little bits of information, the designation and the Gibraltar, I suddenly got 17 hints where I had 0 before. So that can make a huge difference when you're trying to learn more about one of your ancestors. Here's my next tip. Just because they got married doesn't mean you should stop using the bride's surname. When entering a female on your tree, you'll get the most hints for that person if you stick with their birth surname. The system on the various genealogy websites are smart enough that they will give you hints for both of their surnames, so their birth name and their married name. The only time I have a bride having the same name as her husband is if they actually did have the same name. That might happen because they married a cousin, or it just might be a coincidence. If you follow this rule of thumb, you'll always know if they have the same last name, and it's for a reason. Whether you're using Ancestry or MyHeritage, be sure to use the tools that they give you for your DNA. Both Ancestry and MyHeritage have colored dots that you can use to organize your DNA matches. Ancestry has 24 and MyHeritage has 30. So be sure to take advantage of this to keep your matches organized. Another tool you can use is your side view technology on Ancestry. You'll find this on your ethnicity tab. You can learn more about this on another video I did called What's in Your DNA at Ancestry, My Ancestry DNA Ethnicity Results. You'll find a link to the video in the show notes. This week, Ancestry will be expanding on side view technology. I knew that side view was going to get more and more exciting. Now the side view technology will expand to your match list. So this means that Ancestry will be separating your matches into maternal and paternal. This is even if your parents haven't tested. So watch for this in your Ancestry DNA matches as they roll this out. At MyHeritage, you can take advantage of their tools, which include the chromosome browser, auto clusters, and their ethnicity map. You get these tools when you purchase a MyHeritage DNA kit, or you've uploaded your DNA to MyHeritage and paid the upcharge to get access to the tools. If you haven't uploaded to MyHeritage, I encourage you to do so. You know you want to fish in all the ponds, so you'll find a link in the show notes as to how you can do this. I hope you enjoyed this video and one or all of the tips were helpful. If you did, be sure to comment below, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that bell so you're notified when new videos are added. I also hope you check out my blog, Hound on the Hunt, where you'll find more tips and ideas about genealogy, genetic genealogy, and organizing your digital and photo legacy. Have a fun day, and again, thanks for watching.